fans, Daniel here, and welcome back to the Jet Fuel Only channel. Today I've got a really awesome product review and installation for you. It's the Savage Cadillac V3 style vented hood for the base and VSport model CTSs. I'd like to thank Savage Cadillac for partially sponsoring this video. You know Savage Cadillac, they've got a ton of appearance parts for your CTS, like their front splitter, their side splitters, that rear diffuser, spoilers, lots of other accessories, and even stuff for the ATS and CT6, so be sure to check out their website. Now you might be thinking, why don't I just put on a CTS-V hood on my car? Well, first of all, they're kind of expensive. They're made of carbon fiber, and even the vent is almost as much as a Savage hood. But if you wanted to swap in a V3 hood, you would actually have to swap out your fenders and your bumper just to make it fit right. And that's gonna be a lot of money. So I'm really glad that Savage has finally brought out this hood. It's a direct swap for the base and V-Sport models. In this video, we're gonna do an unboxing, inspection of the hood, and do a detailed install in case you wanna install it yourself, or actually with the help of someone else. It's a pretty big piece of equipment. You can get these hoods from Savage for about $1,600, and then you want to tack on the price for the vent. You can get it in satin black, gloss black, or carbon fiber, and then a few $100s for shipping. You're looking at around $2,000 total for this, plus paint. Now that may seem like a lot, but this is the biggest panel on the car, and it's gonna change the look of the car drastically. I think it's gonna be worth it. Typically you would have this shipped directly to a body shop, have them paint it there, and then you can just bring your car in, and probably in a couple hours they can swap out the hood. Or if you just want it sent to your house, you can swap it out yourself with the help of a friend, and then you can get away with it for a while. It is a gloss black gel coat, which doesn't look too bad, but it's definitely not as nice as gloss black paint, and it might have some imperfections. But eventually you can get to the body shop when you're ready and have them take it off the car, paint it, and put it back on the car. But today we're installing it here in this garage because this car is gonna have the hood wrapped, because the car is already wrapped in a beautiful Nardo gray. This is AJ. You know him as Descend VSport on Instagram, and this is his 2015 CTS VSport. AJ, welcome. Tell us a little bit about what you've done to your car so far.
Awesome, thank you, Daniel. I have an intake, as you can see, through ZZP. I have the Savage Cadillac front splitter, side skirts, and rear diffuser. I have the car fully wrapped in Nardo gray. Gray rotors slotted into the over.
Oh yeah, I saw those, they look good. So what else are you gonna do in the future?
I plan on upgrading the turbos, which is the main reason, or one of the good reasons for this new hood. I want to hopefully eventually cam it and get it tuned through Schmitty.
Yeah,
so
all right.
I can get pushing.
Cool, very cool. Well, there it is, folks. I can't wait to put this hood on and see how it looks, so let's get started. Alright, for this installation you'll need the following tools. You'll want a small flathead screwdriver to remove the hood struts, a trim removal tool like this. You can find it in the big trim removal kit that I recommend from Amazon, links in the description. You and your helper will want a 3/8 inch ratchet, 13mm sockets to remove the bolts holding the hood on, and although a 13mm will fit, I found a 1/2 inch socket works best for the latch adjustment bolts. The hood, of course, gets shipped in a pretty big box via freight, so it's actually best to have it shipped to a commercial address. Opening the box, the hood is well packed. Unfortunately, the box did have a hole punched in it in shipping, and it caused a few chips on the hood vents. Feedback from Savage Cadillac says that this is an unusual situation. However, I suggest you inspect the box as soon as it arrives, and even open it if you can in front of the delivery driver so that there's full proof of any damage that occurred. Overall, the hood looked pretty well made though. It's a little bit heavier than the stock hood, so that's why Savage recommends stronger hood support struts. This is where they attach, and it comes with these nuts and washers to attach the hood to the car. Also, you get a couple decals in the box. Removing the hood's pretty easy. Let me show you what we're going to do. There are two 13mm nuts on each side of the hood, holding the hood to the hood hinges. And then on each side you also have hood struts, and these are pretty easy to remove with your flathead screwdriver. You'll want a helper to help you because this is not something that can be done with just your two hands. At the front of the car is the hood latch, and this may need to be adjusted. It all depends on how the hood fits right out of the box. Okay, for the first step, I'm going to remove the hood struts. Just use your flathead screwdriver to lift up on the spring clip. You don't need to pop off the clip. Just lift it up slightly and pop the strut off of the ball mount. Do it again at the top. Sometimes it helps just to tap it with the palm of your hand to get it off. You'll do the same for the other side, but note we got AJ holding the hood up because once those struts are off, the hood can fall right down on you. So now we'll just support it with whatever we can find in the garage, in this case, a baseball bat. Next, you and your partner will loosen up the nuts holding the hood to the hood hinges. I'm actually only doing my side first, so AJ can focus on supporting while I unscrew the nuts, and then I'll support the hood while he does his side. As you undo the last nut, it's important to be supporting the hood as a lot of tension builds up once it's loose, and you don't want it slipping and then going into your windshield or something. Once it's free, just lift the hood away from the car and put it away. We put it in the lid of the Savage hood box. All right, this is where we are right now. Hood's off. That was pretty easy, right? For the next step, we're likely going to need to adjust the hood latch, so we need to remove the plastic shroud at the front of the engine bay. It's held in with these plastic retainers. You need to lift out the center section of the retainer, and then the lower section can be removed. Sometimes it helps just to use a flathead screwdriver to get the top started, and then the trim tool really makes it easy so you don't break the clip and it just raises the top evenly. Of course, be careful with your metal tools if you don't want your plastic shroud scratched. Over on the left and right sides, there's also a push pin located on the side of the fenders, but be careful when doing this. Don't use a metal trim tool to pry against the fender to pry out the retainer. After that, carefully remove the rubber seal up near the struts. These are in with little clips that are often broken, honestly. Then, to remove the shroud, just pull up and release all the retainers that are holding it in. Now we have full access to the bolts to adjust the hood latch later. If you're all about clean like AJ is, this is a great time to clean up under the shroud. All right, now it's time to put on that hood. Make sure you have the new nuts and washers ready to go, loose up by the windshield or in your hand before you bring the hood over. Carefully align the bolts of the hood into the hood hinges and attach the washers and nuts. Be careful not to drop them. It's easy to drop them into the engine bay. Once the nuts are fairly secure, go ahead and lower the hood, but do it carefully. If the hood is misaligned, you could quickly damage the hood or your fenders. So as it comes down, make sure that it's lining up properly, and if not, back up, loosen the nuts, and adjust the hood to the direction you think is necessary for clearance. Savage recommends getting stronger hood struts to support the heavier hood, although no one has found exactly which hood struts they should buy to do this, but we thought we'd attach the stock ones just to see if they'd help us a little bit. You can see that the hood immediately falls down as soon as AJ pulls it from the most upright position, and he has to help it all the way to the top. However, we did find that there was a little problem. The hood struts were too long. They reached their minimum length before the hood completely closed, which inhibited the hood from closing. Savage recommends moving the strut mat down a little bit, but I spoke to other owners and they didn't have this problem, and their hood mount looks about the same, so I'm not sure what's going on here. The front latch on the hood is not adjustable. You can see that it's fully riveted in. And so the only adjustment to make is the hood latch that's attached to your car, and it's held on with these two bolts. You can see here that the Savage hood latch doesn't quite line up. It would help if it was just a little bit to the left, and we can make that adjustment. The first thing I suggest is scoring or using a marker to note where the hood latch is from the beginning. Hopefully the Savage hood latches in from the stock position, but if not, it's no problem. The hood latch has some movement left and right and quite a bit of movement up and down. It just comes down to a little bit of trial and error, so loosen it up with the 1/2" socket, or the 13mm works as well. Then move the latch into a position you think is necessary. I have to tell you that you have to be careful. If it's down too far and the hood completely closes, you may have a hard time opening it. So I suggest you start from the top and work your way down. We had to make several adjustments. In the meantime, we used some of the foam from the box to hold the hood up. If it doesn't seem aligned with the latch, remember that you're going to adjust the hood's position on the hinges soon too, and that's going to make a difference depending on how the hood is sort of rotated. But at one point we got into a situation where it was difficult to get our hands underneath the hood to move the latch to fully open it. That's because the Savage hood is actually a little thicker on the front edge than the stock hood. After a couple of attempts, we found that the latch was best almost all the way to the bottom, but this will differ depending on your hood and your car. Once you're satisfied with the latch positioning, it's time to adjust the hood for its edges. You want to look at the gap along each side of the car and see if the gaps are even. You want to make sure that there's no rubbing against the fender either that could scratch up your paint. So, you and your helper should loosen those nuts and make small millimeter-sized adjustments to the hood to change its position so that it fits just right. Although it's easy to remove and install the hood, it's this adjustment that took quite a bit of time for us. We probably made about 10 adjustments. And then once you're happy with the latching and the positioning, go ahead and tighten up those nuts, but not too tight. It is a fiberglass hood. You don't want to crack it. Just make sure it's firm. Once we're done adjusting the hood, just put that shroud back into place. It just clips in with those snapping retainers. Once that's all in, go ahead and put the rubber seal back into place. This can be a little difficult and a lot of cars have the clips broken off. Just do your best. Then we need to put those plastic push retainers in. Put the base in first and then push the top down to lock it in. Don't forget the retainers on each side of the fenders as well. Once that's done, you can close the hood and clean it up. Remember, it is a gloss black gel coat, so it doesn't look too bad, but there may be some flaws that need to be sanded out before painting. Overall, the hood looks really good out of the box. Some imperfections, but nothing you notice unless you get really close. Of course, the final step is to get this hood painted, or in this case, it's gonna be wrapped. Shortly after this video, AJ had it wrapped and sent me these pictures. He kept the vent gloss black and the Nardo gray all over the hood. Really looks good. Make sure you follow him on Instagram. He's always got some great pics of his car.
All right, that's it for installing the Savage Cadillac V3 style vented hood. AJ, what do you think of the install?
It was tedious, but it was actually fairly quick for the most part. The adjusting at the end was...
Yeah. Swapping out the hood is easy. I mean, it's just a few nuts and then the struts. But yeah, the adjustments, we had to do that probably, what, 10 times? Yeah. Loosen, twist. So you can't do this by yourself, you guys. You gotta have somebody that's competent to help you out. And to be honest, I've never changed a hood before. So that should tell you that if you wanna do this with a buddy, you can probably pull it off, especially with this video. All right, that's it for this episode. Be sure to like, subscribe, and of course hit the bell for future videos. Thanks for watching the Jeff the Only channel. We'll see you next time.